Hey guys, I'm Ashley and I'm the daughter,
I'm Liz, and I'm the mom.
and this is The Lesser Known. So today we're going to be talking about Saguaro National Park. Well, how do you say saguaro?
That's how I thought you would say it.
Okay.
Saguaro.
Yeah, that's how I thought you would say it too.
We're probably going to say it wrong the whole time.
Well, we are. I know how to pronounce it. I'm going to tell you later,
Okay.
but I'm going to call it saguaro right now. So that's what we're talking about. But before we do, we're going to hop into the question of the day, national park in the news, and then friends of the pod. So the question of the day is, what is the most absurd thing you've been tricked into doing or believing?
This kept me up all night because I can't even think of anything, which is ridiculous because you would think as a kid, like your parents tell you things and it's obviously like never true. But I couldn't think of anything. The closest thing I could think of was Adam always does this thing like when we're talking about somebody, he's like, "Oh, my phone called him. Ooh, my phone called him." And then I like
Oh, I
for a
hate
minute,
that.
I get like that anxiety in my chest, like that rush of
Yeah.
nervous energy. Or we'll be like doing voices outside for the dogs, and then he'll go, "Oh, hey, Paul," because Paul's our neighbor. Like so, so he
Yeah.
always like tricks me for a second there. But like that's all I can like. And I'm sure I have tons of stuff from as, and I can't believe like how like stressed this had me. Like last night I was like stressed out about this, like thinking and thinking and thinking. It's like, why can't I think of my past at all?
Well, it's fine.
Mhm.
It's not that you don't need to be stressed out
It's
about
not that
it.
serious. I
It's
don't
not
need
that
to,
serious.
my cortisol levels don't need to be rising at this point.
Right. The most absurd thing that I've been tricked into believing was someone told me, and this wasn't when I was a kid. This was like teenage me in high school. Someone told me that if there's a stop sign and there's white around the border, that means it's optional to stop. And I believed it for a long time.
Who told you that?
I don't remember.
What did you do at the stop signs then? Did you
I still
actually,
stopped. Yeah, I still stopped because I was scared, but I believed it.
when did you find out?
When someone said, when I told someone else, and then someone said, that's not true. I feel like that's how I find out a lot of things that people have
I
told me.
well, you have this thing where you say things like it's fact. Even if you don't know for sure, you say it like it's fact and it's like, where did you hear that? And
Because
then
I
it's like,
trust
that
people.
is definitely not true. You need to like fact check your stuff before you say state it so factual.
I mean, I've started to.
I hope so.
Anyway, all right. My national park in the news. This has to do with our national park today. So when I was reading incident reports, it seemed like there was a lot of reports about rabies like over the past 20 years for some reason. So this happened in Seguaro. A gray fox attacked 3 separate hikers in the past week,
Hmm.
and everyone tested positive for rabies. So they had to
Oh
get,
no.
yeah, they
This was
had to get
recently?
treated. Yeah, and then the attacks occurred on the 3rd and 4th of April on Hugh Norris Trail, which is a 9.5 mile trail. And I guess they had to shut down the entire trail because they're looking for the fox.
That's crazy because you don't like really hear about people getting rabies.
I know, that's what I was thinking. But it happened like within the last, few months. So crazy.
That is crazy. We had a rape. No, I guess it wouldn't be a rabies scare, but there was a stray cat in our backyard, and Nika chased it into the pool, and
Mm.
Adam had to
Oh.
fish it out, and the cat scratched him, and it's a
Mm.
stray cat, so we called the vet, and or called somewhere to make sure he didn't need to like go in and get a rabies shot or something, and they're like, "Oh no, you should be fine." But everything we were reading was like, you don't. If you find out you have rabies, it's like too late. Like if you get the symptoms, it's too late. So it's like, well, I hope that cat didn't
Really?
have rabies because yeah,
Oh.
because once you start getting the, I mean, you can. It takes. I think it takes like a couple of weeks before the symptoms come out. But once you have it, it's like really hard to treat.
I feel
You have
like
to
you're
do it like
more
immediately.
likely I feel like you're more likely to get like cat scratch fever rather than rabies. What do you know what that is?
I not really.
It's like I don't know I don't know what all it entails, but my friend Sam got scratched by his cat that's not wild, his house cat, and he got scratched like on his cheek, and his entire cheek swelled up so much that it was pulling the other side of his face.
Oh
So
no.
his eye was like this, and yeah, and when he popped it, all of this liquid came flying out. It's so
Oh.
gross. It's like,
He didn't
I
go to
mean,
the
I think,
doctor?
yeah, he went to the doctor after like a few days because he thought it was just a big zit, and then it was seriously like the size of a baseball. It
Oh.
like stretched his face.
Ow.
Yeah. And I was there when he popped it because we were at the center where I lived at U of
Mhm.
I, and we were all like, "Man, you need to pop that thing." And so he's like, "All right." And so we went in the bathroom and he popped it, and it just like was.
Oh
It wasn't
no.
even like a zit though. It was like water. Like I don't know. It was gross. But he went to the doctor and he had to have it removed.
And that they said that was from the cat?
Yeah, because the cat scratched him. Isn't that
Did they
crazy?
call it cat scratch fever?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. But I don't know if it like affects people different, you know?
Yeah, gross. I feel that sounds awful.
Yeah. Anyway, who are the friends of the pod?
Oh, right. All right. So I have Sean O'Rourke, Justin Sawyer, George Smith, John Shiv, and Joe Mack. So thanks guys for the follow. Hope you guys are enjoying the podcast and or Instagram.
Yep. Thanks for the follow.
One thing we never do, and I don't understand why we haven't said anything about it. We never talked about your travel journal. It's like
Oh.
it's in our what is that called?
Link
It's
tree?
in our link tree.
Yeah.
So every time you go into the link tree, that's like the first thing that pops up. We have like never talked about it. So I just want to
Oh.
say Ashley created a national parks travel journal. It's 200 how many pages? Like over 200
Yeah.
pages.
It's a lot because I wanted to make sure that you had a section for every national park in the US, and it
Mhm.
just equaled out to 207 or something pages. But there's like 3 pages per travel venture, and it like helps you budget, it helps you plan your trip because I'm a huge planner. So if you're like me, you'll like it, but it helps you budget, plan your trip, talk about your trip a little bit. And then there's a picture for your best memory that you've had while you were there, and just a bunch of
A
other
spot to
things.
put the picture, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you meant?
like a spot to put the picture. And then in the back, if you flip all the way to the back, there's a small national park passport, which I also made a separate passport. If you just like, if you don't care about the journaling part and you just want to get stamps or stickers from national parks, I made a separate little tiny book for just the national
National Park
parks. Yeah.
Parks
And there's
passport. That's really
a
cool.
yeah, and there's a bucket list in the back too. So like if you, I put I left some blank, but I also put some goals to have, like traveled this far in like this amount of time, like did a 1,200-mile road trip or something. So it's kind of
Yeah, it's
cool.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys should check it out.
yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome. I always open the link tree and I always see it and I was like, have we ever even told people about this journal?
No, I don't think so. I think I just assumed people would open our link tree.
All right.
Alrighty.
What do you know about
So
Saguaro except that like the name is we're saying it
yeah.
wrong.
So we're gonna go over how the park got its name and how to say it, a missing persons case, a crazy death, and then a felonious plane crash today. There wasn't much about this park. So I had to really go off the incident reports, and that was about it. So I do have like some interesting facts about the park and like the name of it. But other than that, nothing has really happened at this park except for what I'm going to tell you. So we'll jump into it. Um, So it's not saguaro like it looks. It's saguaro. Saguaro. So the G
Uh,
is silent.
okay, I could accept that. It's not.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say something like really crazy and off the wall.
No, it's not anything crazy. It's just like we pronounce it like saguaro, but it's
Hmm.
saguaro. Saguaro.
Saguaro.
Yeah.
Okay, I could do that.
And that is actually a type of cactus that only grows in the Sonoran Desert. And the Sonoran Desert takes up a tiny part of Arizona, New Mexico, and California.
Hmm. So I can't
Yeah.
have one here in Florida?
No. And if you try, you might get arrested. So since the park is named after those cactuses, I wanted to go over like some interesting facts about the cactuses. And this is where you'll find out why you would get arrested.
Okay.
So these are the largest cactuses in the US. They're the typical cactus that you like picture in your mind when you think of a cactus, like with the arms and stuff, you
Mhm.
know? They can grow up to 50 feet tall and can live for over 150 years.
Wow.
Yeah. They don't grow an arm until around age 75. And in the first 8 years of their life, a saguaro only grows between 1 and 1.5 inches total in the first 8 years. So they start slow.
So now I'm going to be thinking about that every time I see one with an arm. It's like,
Hmm.
wow, that one is over 75 years old.
Yeah, it's much older than us, even combined. The average lifespan of a saguaro is around 150 to 175. Um, but biologists have estimated that some in the park can live for over 200 years.
I wonder how they know. Is it like trees where there's like
It's
rings on a tree?
I think so, but I also think from the arms, like how many arms it has and
Mm.
yeah. Adult saguaros can weigh up to 6 tons. Isn't
So,
that crazy?
yeah, 6 tons. Like, it's like car. It's
Yeah,
cars. Six
cars,
cars,
but
maybe?
multiple. Yeah, I
Because
think
aren't
so.
cars like a ton?
I thought so. I don't know, actually. I should have done a comparison.
I feel like they
um,
are.
yeah, let me look. 4,000 pounds.
A
And
car's
a ton,
4,000?
yeah. And a ton is that 1,000 pounds or 10,000 pounds?
It's not 10,000.
Okay.
A ton, I think, is 1,000. I don't know. Look that up too.
Oh, 2,000 pounds. Okay.
Okay.
That's
So it's like
a
three
weird
cars.
measurement. Yeah. Okay. So they can weigh up to 3 cars, which is crazy. And then it's illegal to cut down a saguaro even in your own yard without a permit from the Arizona Department of Agriculture. Doing so is considered a felony and could result in a significant fine and potential jail time. I
That's
guess because they're so
harsh.
protected. Yeah.
So, especially in your own yard, you would think
I
that you could
know.
just like do whatever you want.
I know. Yeah.
But actually, it's like the saguaro is like ruler of the yard more so than you
Yeah.
are. It owns it more than
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. You're moving into
Right.
its house. Now let's jump back into the park. The park itself encompasses 91,000 acres and is actually two parks in one. There's the Western Tucson Mountain District and the Eastern Mountain District because the city of Tucson divides the two. So that's why it's like two parks because they couldn't encompass Tucson into the park. The park is located about 2 hours south of Phoenix, right next to Mexico, and it is the only national park that is split into two sections by a major city.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah. The eastern section is more mountainous and has more hiking trails. It also allows backpacking, whereas the western section is lower in elevation and has a denser saguaro forest. It's a better choice for those who have limited time. And they also have like driving, where you can drive around the park instead of walking. Since becoming a national park in 1994, it's grown increasingly popular and gets approximately 1 million visitors a year. Out of those visitors, there are on average 3 deaths a year, with the most common cause being environmental. I don't know if that means heat or
I would
that's
guess
what I would assume.
like heat and
Yeah.
dehydration.
Yeah, because that's what I was reading a lot of on the incident report.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, just like, I mean, there was a lot, like just bodies found and,
Hmm.
you know, but, I almost think that, so I think that it's more than 3 deaths a year, but they only find or like report three because like people go missing for years. You know what I mean? And when I was looking at the incident reports, it was like, oh, body found from incident in 1990 or whatever. You know what I mean? And I think it's more than just environmental because it's so close to Mexico. I think that it's like not gangs, what about like mafia? Like there's been stories where like I don't know if it is the mafia. Do you, do you know what I'm talking about? Gangs or something?
Like drug
Cartel.
cartel?
Yeah, yeah. So I like I think it's like drug incidents gone wrong sometimes because there have been stories where they they take horses since like they don't check horses that cross the border obviously because you can't just check every horse. um, if they like catch a horse, they'll stuff them with drugs to cross the border and tag them
Oh.
somehow. Yeah, I know it's really sad. And then to get the drugs across. So I don't know if they like, someone sees them do it and then they're like, oh, we'll just dump a body. I don't know if it's like a body dumping place because it's like so close to the border. But yeah, that's what I think. So one example of a mysterious missing persons case actually happened on October 12th in 1994, which is the same year it became a national park.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think this was like shortly after, actually. A 34-year-old woman named Shannon Shell was said to have taken her Camaro out to the park to complete a trail that she had previously attempted but failed to finish. She was intent on completing the trail. She took the Verde Ridge Trail to Manning Camp, which is a 32-mile round trip hike. When she failed to check in with her family, she was reported missing. There were more than 120 searchers that used tracking dogs, helicopters, and infrared sensors, and they spent over 2,000 hours looking for her, but she was nowhere to be found. To this day, none of her belongings or her body has been found. And that was in 1994.
So it just disappeared again.
Yeah, crazy. So, yeah, no one has found her. Manning Camp is
Didn't I
also
think
very popular.
what's popular?
The camp that she was going to, it's very
Oh.
popular. So you would think that someone would have passed by.
Are there a lot of roads in the park?
Mm, I don't know about roads,
Like
but
could
there's a
someone
lot of
have like
hiking.
snatched her up and then
Oh, I see.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Because
because from
some of these places are like, forests and stuff, and it's like they just vanished.
yeah,
But if it had roads in it, maybe
yeah, yeah. I thought it was weird because it's like it's a desert, so there's not. You know what I mean? Like you can see if there were helicopters searching and all this stuff, you think you would be able to see down there or like but yeah, you're right, someone could have snatched her up. She still hasn't been found. You would think that something would happen, like you'd find something, like her shoe flies off or something falls out of her backpack. They found
right.
nothing.
Like when they're yeah, exactly. Like because I feel like
Mhm.
if you were snatching someone, you wouldn't really grab their backpack, or maybe you would. I don't know what
I
snatchers
don't
do.
know. Yeah. Snatchers just be snatching.
Yeah. I try to distance myself
um
from snatchers. So
yeah, me too. So in the park there are over 175 miles of hiking and no off-trail hiking is below 4,500 feet. So, like I was saying, you would think that because it's not a heavily dense area
mhm.
and they're only looking at a certain altitude that they'd be able to find her, but there's still no evidence of her.
Okay.
There was also a crazy death that happened in the park. And I say crazy because it's not something that you would think would happen, but it did. In 1982, it was recorded that a man was killed when he tried to shoot down a 125-year-old saguaro cactus. The man blasted most of the way through, and then he poked at one of the plant's arms, which made the 500-pound arm fall off and crush him.
I mean, he kind of
Yeah,
deserved it.
that saguaro was like, you messed
Yeah.
up.
Don't you know I'm protected? Because, yeah,
Yeah. Well, because
if you
at
don't
first,
know, now you know.
right. When I first started reading that, I was like, oh, they probably shot him because it's like a felony, and he was in, putting this cactus in danger. But then it said that the arm fell off. I'm like, holy crap, a 500-pound arm?
Karma.
I know. That Saguaro was like, just wait.
Mhm.
It's
Okay,
coming.
yeah. Just keep
Yeah.
doing this. Go ahead.
Yeah. There was also a plane crash, like I said earlier, within the park on that happened on September 29th of 2000. Two residents spotted a object near Rincon Peak. The area was investigated and they found the wreckage of a small aircraft. The park was notified and in turn contacted the FAA. The FAA advised that the twin-engine Cessna had been missing since August 29th of 1984. So
That's
they
a
found this in
really long
2000.
time.
Yeah, 16 years.
So maybe there is still hope for that for the lady.
Well, these people were dead.
I mean, they found you know what I'm saying, like years
Like
later.
no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think people do die more, but they don't find them until later.
Mhm.
Yeah. Rangers and local deputies secured the crash scene and began further investigation. The FAA determined that the Cessna had flown into the side of a mountain under full power, probably during a low level night flight in a thunderstorm. The aircraft exploded on impact, causing a small brush fire that eventually burned out without being witnessed. So that's why it was hard to find.
How could they know that though if it was from 1984 and then 2000? How would they know a small brush fire?
I mean, it probably was still burned around there. I
That's a
don't
lot of
know.
years.
Yeah, I know, but they probably have some way of knowing.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. Like we don't know how like
Yeah.
systems of measurement work really. We're not like that.
Yeah. And I'm sure like there was evidence of what happened with the plane because, they can see like that it was like full throttle and I don't know.
And coming from us, like we don't even know what a ton is, so
Yeah, that's
we are
true.
no judge. We are no
No,
judge here.
no. The remains of the four victims were found in the initial search, along with a handgun and a bag containing moldy currency. Further investigation into archived DEA records revealed that the plane had been leased to people with reported drug smuggling connections and that there was potentially 1.5 million on board the aircraft.
But it's moldy. Can they still use it?
um I don't know.
And it's like drug money anyway, right? So
Yeah. They said the money
just burn to the ground.
Right. They said the money was probably going to be used to finance a drug deal that involved smuggling drugs from Mexico. The recovered bag with the moldy currency had been thrown clear of the plane. Evidence at the site indicated that an undetermined amount of additional currency had been burned in the crash.
It would have been really cool though if you were on one of the hikes or something and you found a big bag of money.
Well, that was actually my question for you is like, if you saw this, would you have kept the money and then told the police? Or told the police and hoped that they gave you money
Uh,
back?
it depends on who's listening, I guess.
No, what would you do?
I don't know. I guess I
I
would
think
I think honestly, I think I would call the cops and show them the money. And here's why.
mhm.
I was leaving Aldi the other day and I accidentally had some granola in my cart that I didn't ring up because I did the self-checkout. And I got
Oh,
all the way
yeah.
to my car and realized that I didn't ring up the granola. So I had this internal battle like, oh, do I go back in and like return the granola? Do I just like I'm already in my
Mhm.
car, do I just keep the granola? I've already done the deed, I guess. But
Yeah.
I like couldn't live with myself. So I went back in and I gave the granola to the security guard and I'm like, here, this
To
was
the
accidentally.
security guard, why didn't you just walk in and pay for it?
Well, I decided I didn't want it anymore. Because there was a line and I didn't want to go pay for it. I just handed it to him. I was like, here, I accidentally forgot this on my card. I didn't ring it up. So I like know myself. I couldn't,
Uh-huh.
because I always feel like I'm going to get a lie detector test and they're going to be like, did you ever steal anything? And then that's going to pop up in my head and I'm gonna have to either lie or I don't know. I just like I had to
Huh.
return it. So I think that if I found a bag of money, I think I would turn it in. And hopefully they'd say, "Oh, that was nice of you. Here's the money."
I think I would have kept some of it and then turned it in.
I hope you never get a lie detector test. You're sus.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I say that I would do that, but I'm not 100% sure because I have a guilty conscience too.
See that exactly. That is exactly why I returned the
Yeah.
granola and or the money.
Yeah. Well, when the Treasury Department analyzed this currency, it was determined that it contained at least 13,000 in US bills, and the residents who discovered the wreckage and the relatives of the victims filed claims for the unknown sum of money. So they did say, hey, we found this, we should get some of it. And then same like with the families of the victims.
Mm-hmm.
But the local county attorney and sheriff's department were able to come to a decision, and they said that the money would be forfeited in accordance with state laws and governing illegal drug activities. But on May 30th, the county Supreme Court issued a ruling that granted $2,000 each to the residents who found it.
That's
The
good.
balance was, yeah, the remaining balance was then distributed to the county attorney's office and the sheriff's department for an anti-racketeering fund. I don't know what that is. And then the park received $2,724. And the aircraft insurer had to pay for the removal of the Cessna in 1998. So, like, whoever insured the aircraft had to pay for that. And then the insurer had declined to respond to the National Park Service that demanded to pay for the recovery of the wreckage and the crash mitigation costs, which I would too, because I'd be like, no, I already paid for the removal of it. Why would I pay
Yeah.
for, you know what I mean?
And and plus it's a long time too.
Yeah, it's been, like a really long time. I feel like after so many years, it just
Yeah.
is, irrelevant.
Agreed.
But that was all I had for Saguaro.
I think my favorite part is that it's called Saguaro.
I
I
have a
actually
hard
really
time
like
saying it
it.
though, because I've been saying saguaro for like years.
But now that I know, that's like I feel like I must.
Yeah. But it was
Yeah.
interesting.
I think mine might be short too. I did find
Yeah.
a couple good places though.
Oh, good. But Everglades is going to be a really good one. I think that
I
one's
think
going to be
so.
long.
I wonder if we're gonna
Yeah.
need extra time to do it.
Yeah, probably. I think yours is going to be really good too, because there's a lot of, like, from what I'm going to talk about, there's a lot of hauntings. Hmm.
Yay. And
I
it's
know.
so
I
close
heard,
to here.
yeah, I heard some of the hauntings, but it was very briefly because I was listening to like a true crime, not a haunting
Hmm.
one. Um, so yeah, it'll be great.
Well, when you came here, we went to the Everglades. Remember?
Yeah, I do. That was fun.
Did that spark anything when you were listening to the podcast, the true crime stuff, or were you able
Uh,
to relate since you had been to the Everglades?
yeah, it wasn't like what I thought. Like I thought it was going to be crocodile infested and they're just swarming up to your boat, but we saw one.
Yeah, is that also an alligator?
Oh, one dinky little alligator out there. He was
He
just
was cute.
he was very cute, but he was tiny. I thought they were like these big old like giant things, like
Yeah,
from
some are.
Tarzan, that scene where they're just like getting mauled by the alligator. What is that, Tarzan? You know what I'm
I
talking
can't
about?
remember. Yeah, where they were swinging over. No, no, no. It was Jungle Book.
Oh, okay, yep. That's what I pictured. And then it was just like we saw
So,
one.
and you were still willing to go on the boat ride, even though you pictured it to be a bunch of alligators just attacking a
I
boat.
figured people go on it all the time, so it was fine. I do
And
think it's creepy though that they can just sit there and you don't know they're there. Cause like they were like, oh, there's a giant one around here somewhere and she only comes out sometimes. It's like, that's kind of
have you
terrifying.
ever seen pictures of an alligator? You know how their head is above the water, but their body is actually vertical?
Hmm.
I think that's the
Yeah,
funniest looking thing because you picture
I
it to be
know.
like sitting there like horizontal, but they're actually like almost standing in the water.
Yeah. They go horizontal sometimes though, right? Like when they're
Yeah, when
swimming.
they
Oh,
swim.
okay. Yeah.
It's just like I picture them to always be that way.
Hmm. Well, have a good rest of the day having.
Thank you. Same
Hmm.
to you as well.
All
You started the
right.
weirdness. I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks
All
for
right.
listening.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Okay. See you guys next week.
Okay,
Okay.
bye.
Okay. Bye.